Hey George. Hi, how's it going?
Hello, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
All good. Thank you so much. Great to meet you again. Always good to meet amazing, customers and clients. Before we start, before we dive in, could you just give us a brief intro about, peak support and, about you, what you do there, and take it from there?
Sure. Yes. I'm the Senior Vice President for Client Solutions at Peak Support. I oversee sales, the entirety of our sales organization, as small as and mighty as we are. And as well, I've been the primary person who put into place HubSpot and really the overseer of the administration of HubSpot and the data that we track there. Peak Support is a business process outsourcing
Yeah.
business, a business process outsourcing organization, and our specialty is in dedicated customer support. So email, chat, phone support teams that work only for a single client, but are our team. So really a traditional outsourcing kind of contact center business. We work with clients in many industries, but we predominantly play in the tech, e-commerce, and really the broadly speaking, the new economy, a lot of young startup companies, teams ranging in sizes from 2 or 3 dedicated agents up to 100, 200, with our largest clients being 500. So we've been in business for 9 years.
Yeah.
Today we are about 60 clients, about 2,000 overall employees.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and we deliver services from around the world, the US, from Colombia, and from the Philippines. And the Philippines would be our largest of all of the geographies.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Great to always, understand more about, our customers, about how, you've been helping businesses around the globe, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working for so many months, right? But before we started working towards building your HubSpot, what were the biggest challenges that you had, right? Like in terms of, say, data management or, marketing attribution, what
Sure.
challenges did you or your team face?
Yeah, we put HubSpot into place when I started at Peak Support. So we've been in business for, I believe, almost 10 years. I've been here for a little bit over 8 years. And right when I joined, I started in sales and new logo um, acquisition for Peak Support. We put HubSpot into place right away.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been kind of efforts periodically to improve how the data is managed. For a long time, it was really used as a pipeline, really that sales CRM component that HubSpot had put into place, and it's a tool that's gotten a lot better over time. But as we've gotten larger and made more investments into marketing, the data management within HubSpot and the accuracy of attribution had kind of um, gone by the wayside or really not kept up. So it was always very much a struggle to build our monthly reports, our kind of annual look backs, and to try to understand the sources. Now that we were more sophisticated, we have sources from paid um, marketing. We have plenty of kind of organic and inbound
Yeah.
um, flow through our contact forms and our ebooks. And one thing we've done really well is develop a lot of content. So things were getting a little complex, and it became very much a challenge to stay really clear about, where everybody was coming from that was finding us through our website.
Got it. And, did it affect your team's efficiency or, any hurdles in decision making?
The the way that we were doing things was that, I had created some fields within HubSpot and even some workflows that were intended to kind of look at the standard HubSpot fields, which it's quite good at populating automatically when you leverage the forms on HubSpot, and it will see what's coming from paid search, and it does its best. But the problem is that there's so many different sources, and really for reporting purposes, we were always wanting to consolidate into sources that we could really wrap our hands around for like our monthly reports and for our executive summaries. So we had tried some things to make that work, but we had never properly leveraged, life cycle stages. The sources themselves were still requiring a lot of manual effort, and each month there was no confidence that we could just rely on the data as it was presented. We always were needing to go back and really review contacts one by one and deals one by one and kind of double check before we could put together reports. So it was more so a challenge of the effort and the required to feel confident in what we were looking at, as well as like the time that then took because of the effort, so that by the time we were trying to do, like, let's say we're almost at the end of March, last year, if we needed to do our Q1 report, it's very likely that that report would not come out until the third month of Q2, I would say, and that happened a lot on our monthly. When we tried to become a monthly cadence, it was often like by the time the following month was over, we were still working on the prior month. And so we were like, oh, now let's just make it a 2-month report, and it just was not even remotely real time.
Yeah.
And when you spend so much effort on just getting the basic information, there was never really a realistic opportunity to try to do more, right? Like that's why life cycle stages were just kind of, overly aspirational for us, just given that we couldn't even get our sources right easily, right? So yeah, that I'd say it was a lot of time lost, and in that way, decision making delayed and insights really being delayed.
Makes sense, and it hurts as well, right? Like when you have a system, as powerful as HubSpot, you would want it to give you, real time reports. When you go to your management, they want to see, which say which channel is working best, which rep is working best, where are you getting the most deals from, and how to actually invest in that, double down on that, or do you sunset that motion or that entire campaign, or like
Yeah.
your efforts towards a particular motion. But yeah, I totally understand. And I remember that you mentioned that your team was earlier using Excel based data analytics, right? So what were
Yeah.
your biggest downsides of that process?
Yeah, our team, in our world, we're a pretty sophisticated operations business, right? We're a contact center operations company. We have business analysts on staff, many more than your average company would. And so we were able to leverage our internal business analytics team to help us when the data in HubSpot it was not so readily able to be done within the HubSpot environment, which I always was saying, to my team, like, this should all be able to be possible. But whenever we tried to make it work, there was just too many exceptions. And so actually our analyst was able to kind of extract the raw data from HubSpot, build rules within that kind of Excel programming world, and to do what we asked, right? So if we had a request for hey, no, this one should be bucketed over here, that's actually a partnership, so they could do things, and in fact, like to some degree, they could then do it again, and they didn't have to build it all over again in the future. But the challenge was that for me and for anyone, for anyone else in the decision making world, it was extremely, I guess, opaque. So like if you wanted to understand, how something ended up into the part of the report that it was in, or if you wanted to understand even just the filtering and the logic that was behind the reports you were looking at, it just wasn't able to be done because details of that were in like the coding of the Excel reporting, right? So it was quite difficult to dive deeper when you were interested to, in a big effort. If you ever wanted something, looked at in a different way, it required a whole process, of getting the analyst to work on it. So, yeah, again, it came down to almost like the similar topic I covered. Like it's almost about the usability of the reporting was a challenge. The time to kind of improve or change things was a challenge. And then at times, eventually what happened towards the end of last year before I reached out and got engaged with your team was that I came really not even to trust a lot of the things,
Yeah.
not that the analyst wasn't doing everything I asked. It's just that the more I would dig in, the more I realized that there were exceptions that weren't covered and examples that were, yeah, for those reasons, not ending up attributing to the proper sources and things like that. So I came not to trust the reporting. It was taking way, way too long.
Yeah.
And that's when I essentially said, we need, I effectively know what I want. And I generally understand how HubSpot works, but I don't have the time or really the knowledge to do it um, in a quick way whatsoever. And also I'm just not, there's better folks out there. And we found you guys who are, very strong with setting up all kinds of workflows, have seen so much from other businesses and how they do things. And so you can kind of bring your playbook. And that's what's been really a great, dynamic is sort of your team has a lot of experience with all kinds of different businesses. There's a lot of like similarities and things that probably almost everyone's doing very much the same. And then there's opportunities for doing things cut in a custom way, depending on our perspective. And so yeah, that's what we engaged at the end of last year, really to just kind of take a fresh look at how data is managed and flows through HubSpot.
Makes sense. No, completely agree with you. I wanted to also discuss about data transparency, but you've anyway mentioned that, right? So yeah, I totally understand, right? That's what HubSpot brings to the table, right? And when it does, why not use it, right? So once we implemented HubSpot, right? Once we came into your system, what has been your biggest immediate improvement, that you've witnessed for peak support?
Yeah, I would say, how quickly I can generate a report that I can also trust um, that the data is accurate, right? We've done a lot of work together.
Yeah.
Um, we've kind of chased down the exceptional situations and oddball data points. We've built, your team has built into the automations. Nice. Yeah, here's the Miro. Yeah, this was a fantastic starting point with working with you guys, getting kind of this sort of architecture level schematic of how we were going to do things. But yeah, as far as what's better now, I can quickly pull up the dashboards that have the foundational elements of our reporting. I can also quickly look into something. I often get requests from our CFO at this point or from our president, Hannah, and she asks an interesting question about, how many of our large opportunities have we won that came from X, Y, or Z source, right? Or and I'm very, very able to really zoom in and find the answers that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I thought I'll just bring this up, for more
yeah,
context, like, building
yeah. I
out
mean
attribution
this
sources.
part right here is like the heart of everything that we did together, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, the original and latest sources, these are the HubSpot fields and we've effectively created another layer, which is the lead sources that are based on our definition. So you don't have control over what populates into the original source and latest source fields, but we have control over what populates into these first lead, first touch, last lead, last touch fields. So those are the fields that we spend our time discussing. Actually, right below that, these sticky notes, these are the
Yeah.
ones that these are kind of the wide variety of sources that we see coming in, and we work together to build the workflows to kind of bucket these many fields here below into a more limited number of fields.
Yeah. Actually, HubSpot allows you to do, right? Like it builds out that workflow where, you don't even, basically look back into where the lead came from in the first place, and what actually helped you, which channel actually helped you really close it, right? So you need to understand where the source is coming in from, where the lead is coming in from, what all different sources or what all channels it has crossed before it closes, right? So you can actually optimize each of these channels, right? So I thought it'll be best to bring this out and show it so as to understand like what is the different, what are the different sources, right? Like what are the different segmentation that you can do for each of the sources, what all can you analyze in each of these sources, right? Of course, right now it is automation, but as we have
Mhm.
shifted to
Mhm.
one metric. We are now rebranding to one metric, but you see, right, like how like all of these can be configured to match where all your leads are coming from, right? And this is basically, as you said, right, this is the heart of the entire setup that we have done for you. And this is where we have seen its success, and that is why we are talking to each other. Had we not seen that success, we would not have been talking to each other about it. But
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
the other big part of it for us is the that we worked on with you guys is the life cycle stage definitions and the rules that govern kind of the movement of individual people through the life cycle stage. Yeah, I think it's up there at the top.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if you Google this kind of thing, HubSpot provides an article with their recommendation. I mean, there's many people with different perspectives on what these things mean.
Yeah.
Um, so we worked on our side to discuss that internally and how we felt about it, and you guys provided feedback, and then we put into place the workflow so that this is one is a challenge because the movement of leads through the life cycle stages has a timestamp associated with it, and so we can't really go back and fix the past when it comes to life cycle stages, is what we found. But going forward, we will be able to and are able to now leverage kind of the built-in HubSpot conversion pipeline reporting around, bringing in leads, bringing in MQLs who kind of are hand raisers who fill out a form of some kind, an ebook, and then their progression obviously through the sales and customer life cycle stages. But yeah, this was an important one too. And I think as the data accumulates for us around the life cycle stage, we're going to start to see the value in having this stuff being done properly and again on time, right? Because it is a time sensitive aspect on this one. And the next phase for us is with Growtomation that we're just really in some deep discussions around now is more sophistication around marketing and communications workflows for people in different stages of their life cycle, people from varying by source, varying by the nature of the form that they filled out, whether it was an ebook, of course, or versus a contact us form and those kinds of things. So I've actually been very impressed, and something we've only just begun to work on together is having you guys help us write some of the that kind of a strategy drives a lot of content. So many different email templates, and I've been really impressed thus far with your team's ability to actually do some of that copywriting, right? I mean, they've taken from the content on our site, from the ebooks and blogs and case study videos and things, and they've put together some quite strong emails. And then if we're going to have a strategy like that, it drives a lot of content and templates that need to be created. So I'm excited about that future. And I think it's like, for some companies that are more, SaaS companies with big marketing teams and those kinds of things, I'm sure a lot of what we're doing is somewhat standard. But for us being really a lean organization, we're not a venture-backed company pumping money into marketing. We're a bootstrap company that's trying to kind of incrementally climb the ladder in terms of marketing and sales sophistication. So I'm really excited to get some of those pieces in place. I think it's gonna make me be able to sleep at night knowing that we have kind of a good plan for all the touch points for the different leads that come through our business.
No, I appreciate the feedback and I'll definitely relay it forward. But this is basically why we're actually rebranding. Now that you've brought it up, I'll just give you a quick introduction of why we're actually rebranding from Growtomation to one metric is because see, this is what we've already been doing, right? And this is what HubSpot has been able to offer to customers using HubSpot, right? Is actually building out processes, revenue processes for their marketing, sales, and customer success team, and actually implementing it on the software, on the tool, right? On different hubs, marketing hub, sales hub, service hub. This is what HubSpot has been doing, and this is where we also position ourselves, right? Growtomation, right? And that is what got us to elite, right? But then we also saw how this is only a part of what customers are looking for, right? Like building out these processes and implementing it, right? What they want is scale, right? Now that you've built the process, right? Now that you've implemented it on, a CRM, or you've integrated different tools, now what, right? Where do we go from here, right? So this is where
Yep.
one metric, made complete sense, because this is what we had been doing, right? We'd been integrating the revenue generation, right, into revenue operations and revenue technology, right? So now that we are a revenue enablement partners for our customers, and we've been actually now, we've just rebranded to, like highlight that as well. But that is now what we are doing, right? Integrating our ABM capabilities, our marketing capabilities, our sales outreach capabilities into, this building out the processes, which is revenue operations and revenue technology. Right. So, like very coincidental that you bring this up, because, we are, there, we have rebranded, and, this is what we are doing, right? So, and if you do not leverage it, like we are not doing a good job for you, right? To bring that scale
Yeah.
that you're actually looking for. Right. But
So the one metric, what is the one metric? Revenue?
yeah, revenue and
Okay.
growth, right? That's what one metric is, right? Everybody's chasing that only, right? At the end,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah. That's
gets
true.
the food on
That's
the
true.
on the table, and that's what gets everybody to sleep peacefully, right? The revenue numbers, right? So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
about right.
that's what one metric is, right? But then now that you've seen how powerful HubSpot is, right? Like coming back to HubSpot's capabilities, now that you've seen it, and what is next for peak support when it comes to, say, marketing or sales attribution, and can you see the impact of this transition, like in your business?
Yeah, I mean the best part about getting all of this in place kind of late last year and being in a strong position going into 2025 is that we also hired a new head of marketing who was not a HubSpot person, still is just getting acquainted with the system, but we were in a place where, you know, the foundation was built, and so we can really rely on the feedback and the data that we're getting from it. So I would say that, yeah, the unlock for us is being able to trust the information, have it in real time. You know, we identified just recently our website. We moved it from I don't even understand it exactly. We basically created a new website, and the connection with our Google Ads was it turned out to be lost a little bit, or to a large extent. So
Yeah.
but we were able to immediately identify that because we had seen 20-25 conversions to paid search, you know, in the prior month. And within a couple of weeks, we said, hey, something's not right. You know, we're not seeing the paid search. And that never could have happened in the past. So I think, like, again, being able to make decisions about where to invest money, but also to identify trends and red flags if things go wrong, is that we're in a great place. And I think um, the next step is probably beyond just making better decisions about where we spend marketing. I think the next step is to even go to a more granular level about how we're converting, why people are converting in the places that they are or aren't, adding on more communication automation so that we can be touching more people in our leads list, in our leads database, and touching them in a way that resonates based on who they are, how they came into our site, whether that should be a salesperson or it should be just a kind of gentle marketing cadence. I think doing that is going to help us really extract more value, and ultimately, like, you know, for me, it's about booking meetings.
Yeah.
So being in front of people more often gives you a better chance, and with good messaging gives you that chance to be there in front of them when the timing is right. Because, for a lot of kinds of products, but I would say it more than any, for our product, building an outsourced team is not something you wake up the next day, and decide it's time, or you decide to give it a try, right? It's something that, we need to make sure we are building awareness. But generally, the awareness of our type of product exists, and it's more so to be present, when people are showing those signals that they may be interested, or just being omnipresent around marketing, around email communication, so that when that crosses their mind, you know that you will happen to be there in their inbox or in front of them, when they are looking for those meetings, right? So, yeah, I'm excited about that expansion of touch points, and that part more than anything else that we have probably coming down the pipeline.
Awesome, awesome. No, and I'm sure that we'll be able to help you out to build that seamlessly, right?
Yeah, you have already started. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Just as closing thoughts, for companies using like predated or like outdated data management systems and processes, what is your advice? Like how would you place them currently, or how would you place HubSpot for them? Like
Yeah. I mean, as far, would I recommend HubSpot, or how would I recommend kind of getting started?
both actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know a ton about your other options. I think HubSpot, is a fantastic tool. I would definitely recommend it even for a very early stage business.
Yeah,
But whether it's HubSpot or whether it's other tools out there, I definitely think, this effort that we went through,
yeah,
let's say we've had HubSpot for 8 years, for a couple of years, there really wasn't much coming in. Like we were getting just a couple of forms, here and there. We were not spending on paid, marketing. We were not spending on some of these directories and different, places that we could become seen. But as soon as that volume, even that probably that first time 3 years ago when I felt the need to make my first marketing source kind of workflow and realize things were getting disorganized, I think engaging with a marketing firm, like Grotomation or One Metric, I think, putting the foundation again in place so that you have something to build from, really, right? Like you can make changes, but getting those initial workflows that are going to land your people into the resource buckets that you feel like are what your business needs, and move people through a life cycle, in a way that makes sense for your business. It's just having to go backwards all the time and wonder about your data, is not a good way to live. So yeah, getting these things in place earlier, the better, I would definitely suggest.
definitely. No, completely agree with you, right? Without that foundation, right? Without everybody having the visibility on what's going to be built, right? It doesn't make sense to build it, right? Everybody's in the dark. We don't know where we are going. A headless chicken is never a good thing to see, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, for your advice, and for just walking us through how HubSpot has been instrumental for peak support and for you, in your role. It's been great talking to you, and always great meeting you, George. Always a pleasure
Yes, good to see
talking.
you too. I'm happy to do it. Yeah, thanks for your help, and really thanks to the team at Grotomation for all the things they're doing and continuing to do with us. So it's pretty exciting.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I understand that you're having a baby. All the best for that as well, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank
should
you.
not forget that, right? Like, however much work comes in between, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, appreciate it.
more important than anything, right? So all the best for that. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's
All
connect
right.
really soon and help our customers, or help people who want to, streamline their processes, streamline their data, streamline their revenue systems. Let's help them out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Ankit.
Awesome. Great then. Thank you.